Yesterday you joked about trying to get this game on Monday switched here. How's that going?
It didn't get switched, but we're looking forward to giving our fans our best game.
You did mention making some changes. Have you thought about, the routine that might change to prepare yourself best?
Yeah, we're still in that process, but we are going to try to change up the routine a little bit.
How do you prepare for something like that where the circumstances change like that in the playoffs?
I think sometimes you just go with your gut. We've done some things that are different, even going into last night, and I think we'll do the same for the next home game.
You say go with your gut. When you were doing the lines, how many different combinations did that take to figure out where you landed?
Not a lot really, because we really felt that the Hellenius line was going good, and we just felt it's just a matter of time before they were going to put it in the back of the net. So really up front, just one or two pieces that we were shuffling back and forth, and we went back and looked at some of the lines earlier in the year, and then decided with that McLeod line, and then put Tomer on the wing.
Lindy, what was the difference in Tage last night? I mean, he was very noticeable.
And when I put him on the wing, it kind of frees him up a little bit. It doesn't have to, put a lot of energy into playing in his own end, which frees him up to get going the other way. It's always been he likes playing center. There's times I like him on the wing. He's had a long run here at center ice, but in the year there was a couple games that even he played with Ostlund a little bit. But I think that was the difference.
It's been talked about how the growth of this team, that there's moments where they haven't been through this before. You can sense their growth. 10 minutes into the game yesterday, you're losing 3-1. That's about as loud a building as I've ever been in. I don't know about you. And the fact that they bounce back from that, how much of a growth moment is that, and how much do you look at that team and say, boy, if we can bounce back from that?
Well, the great part about that 10 minutes is I like the way we were playing. Shot winning off a face-off, and all of a sudden they got a power play goal. But to that point, we were outplaying them, out-shooting them, out-skating. Just felt to make a goalie change and move on. But the whole year, this team, there's been no quit. Have we played some bad games in the playoffs? Yeah, we played some games we'd like to have back. I think that's been part of our growth. We use that as a lesson and we move on.
How do you make Game 7 another game, or is that even possible?
The goal is to make Game 7 like Game 6. Move the puck quick, play with a lot of pace, keep our feet moving in the offensive zone, and close real quickly in the defensive zone. That's our recipe.
Lindy, how do you draw from your Game 7 experiences as a player and as a coach and apply it to this situation, or can you?
Yeah, well, my last one was in Jersey, Game 7 against the Rangers, and took a similar approach I did to Game 6 here, where I kept them away from the rink and just brought them in just in time for the game, because I think everybody realizes you feel that pressure. I mean, we feel it, and you got to imagine how they feel, and we've got a great number of players that have never experienced it. So, but our group is got to a point where I believe that this is just another opportunity for our group to prove who we can be.
Sorry. The wild swings between games, even the swings within games, the last two games, the team losing after one wins emphatically in the end. How do you explain just sort of the roller coaster ride that this series has been?
Well, I explained it that teams have taken, opportunities inside of a game and game momentum and grabbed it and ran with it, and then there's been times where the opposition has just grabbed it right back. I thought, great start, and I'm going to say that I didn't think it was a bad 6 or 7 minutes. But once we got through that, we were right back on track again, playing the game we wanted to play, and felt that if we kept playing in their end, the opportunities would be there.
Did you talk to Alex Lyon at all last night or this morning?
I talked to him as I walked off the ice after the first period, and I talked to him for a second right after the game.
What was kind of your message to him? Because I just imagine.
I just said, I just gave him a pat on the back and said, listen, we're going to keep using both. And that's really been the message the whole year. Those guys have supported each other. It's a time of desperation right now, and he was the biggest supporter of UPL as soon as he went in. I think he might have been the happiest guy in the room.
Cindy, you touched on this a little bit last night, but how is it in this series that the home team has won 2 games and the road team's won 4?
I don't know the answer. I can try to make one up. I'm sure that they've been searching for that. They had their opportunity. Their last opportunity was Game 6 against Tampa, and then they had to turn around and go down to Tampa for Game 7. Don't know exactly what it is. I think we have to feel like we don't have to entertain, but we have to play with a lot of pace. And I think sometimes the home team, a little bit of entertaining, and all of a sudden you give some pucks up. I think if you look at our even strength play last night, and you break it down, was probably one of our best even strength nights in a playoff.
And maybe it's a little bit of a fluke when it happens in your series this way home road. But this is a league-wide thing, with the exception of Colorado and Carolina. No one's winning at home. Doesn't that even strike you as being a moron?
It makes me feel better because it's just not us. I think it sums up the parity. That teams aren't intimidated going into other teams' building, even how loud and what a venue it is when you come here in the production for a game. The sound is deafening at times. Makes it really tough on communication on the bench. But I think at the end of the day, there's just a lot of good teams. You look at our division and how tight it was. So either team can. You look at Montreal's road record. In the second half of the year, same thing.
I feel like Jack Quinn was maybe building toward something like last night. He had the goal called back. It just seemed like he'd been very active for some of the games and rewarded.
Yeah, you look at all the numbers and all the opportunities he's had. Again, it was a little bit like his season, the start of the season for him, where he got stuck on, I don't know, what it was, 13 or 14 goals and had all kinds of opportunities, was getting probably 1 or 2 great looks a game, and then finally broke out with a hat trick against, I don't know who it was, but I think it's part of growth too, and now he feels good about how he's shooting the puck, and this should really help push him forward.
To keep the road momentum, you considering keeping these guys in a hotel tonight?
Yeah, we're considering a lot of stuff. That is one of them for sure.
I'm curious, yesterday, you talked about the meeting you guys had, sort of the messages. I'm curious what, if any, Rasmus's role was during the day, and just what you kind of noticed from your captain in the build-up to that type of game.
I had a short meeting with just my captains, and then we had our team meeting. I'm not going to really disclose what was part of that, but really the message I tried to send was, go out there and play. Go out and play, and we won't focus on mistakes. We're going to focus on err on the side of aggression versus, maybe I have to be safe.
How did Owen come through the game?
I thought he played a heck of a game, and he came through it well, so really encouraged.
I just circle back and look back. The Benson, Norris, Thompson line was one you put together during the preseason. Does the research for trying something else go back that far? I know you used it in the regular season as well, but
yeah, when we tried it, it was, I think Norrie's first game was the Winnipeg game, I believe. When we looked kind of back on it, I think right now Norris is playing as well as he's played all year. I haven't asked him, but I would say he's got to feel pretty good about his body and the way he's skating and the way his compete is, and Benny's compete has been great. So did that factor into it going back that far? Not really, but we knew it was something we had tried.
thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Safe drive.